No one in the galaxy knew who found the door first. Some records said it was a mining ship searching for rare metals near the edge of known space. Others said it was an explorer looking for forgotten ruins. The truth was lost in the confusion that followed. What everyone agreed on was this: the moment the door was discovered, everything changed. The structure was floating alone in deep space, far from any planet, star, or trade route. It looked ancient, older than anything the Galactic Council had ever seen. Its surface was dark gray and covered with marks and symbols from hundreds of different languages. Every message said the same thing: do not open. At first, many people thought it was some kind of joke. Ancient civilizations often left warnings around dangerous machines or old weapons. Most of the time, those warnings were exaggerated. But this place felt different. The structure was enormous. It was larger than many cities and shaped like a giant wall stretching through space. At its center stood a single door. The door. It was nearly 300 meters tall, no windows, no controls. No visible power source, just one massive black entrance sealed shut. When news of the discovery reached the Galactic Council, interest spread across the galaxy. Scientists arrived first, then historians, then military fleets. Soon thousands of ships surrounded the ancient structure. Everyone wanted answers. The first scans revealed something strange. The door was exactly 1,000 years old. Not approximately, not nearly, exactly 1,000 years old. That alone shocked the researchers. No material should have survived in such perfect condition for so long. Yet the door looked untouched by time, as if it had been built yesterday. More scans followed. The walls contained advanced technology unlike anything known in the galaxy. Some experts believed it was human technology. That discovery created even more questions. Humans had vanished centuries ago. Their worlds still existed. Their cities remained. Their machines could still be found. But humanity itself had disappeared from the galaxy long ago. No one knew where they had gone. No one knew why. Now a mysterious structure linked to humanity had appeared, and it carried only one message: do not open. The warning was repeated thousands of times across the surface. In human languages, alien languages, even languages that no longer existed. It was as if humanity wanted every possible civilization to understand the message: stay away. For several weeks, the Council studied the door. They searched old archives, ancient databases, forgotten human records. Nothing explained what was hidden behind it. Some Council members wanted to destroy the structure. Others wanted to leave it alone. But curiosity was stronger than caution. It always was. During a special Council meeting, representatives argued for hours. What if it contains a weapon? One leader asked, what if it contains knowledge? Another replied, what if it contains a threat? Someone else said, no one had answers. Finally, the Council approved deeper scans. If they could not open the door, they would look through it. The most advanced sensors in the galaxy were brought to the site. Massive scanning arrays surrounded the structure. The operation took 3 days. Scientists watched their screens nervously. Then the results arrived. At first, no one understood what they were seeing. The data was impossible. Researchers checked it again and again and again. The answer never changed. There was something behind the door, something alive. The news spread through the fleets within minutes. Panic followed. That can't be correct. It has to be a mistake. No life form could survive 1,000 years trapped inside. Yet every scan showed the same result. One life sign, steady, calm, active. As if it had been waiting, the Council immediately ordered more tests. Perhaps there was an unknown power source. Perhaps the sensors were malfunctioning. Perhaps something else was creating the signal. But every test confirmed the same terrifying fact. Something was alive behind the door, and it knew they were there. Military commanders moved their fleets into defensive positions. Weapons powered up across thousands of ships. Scientists continued their work. Nobody slept, nobody left. Every eye remained fixed on the giant black door. Then something happened. One of the monitoring stations detected a sudden energy spike. The structure was waking up. Lights that had been dark for 1,000 years slowly appeared across the surface. A deep vibration moved through the ancient wall. Several ships backed away in fear. No one knew what was coming next. The vibration grew stronger, then stronger again. Suddenly, every screen and every ship flashed bright white. An unknown signal burst from the door and spread across the entire fleet. Alarms echoed everywhere. Systems struggled to understand the transmission. For several seconds, nobody could decode it. Then the computers finally translated the message. The command center fell silent. Scientists stared at the screen in shock. Military officers stopped speaking. Even the council representatives froze. Because the signal contained only 4 simple words. Why did you come? And then, for the first time in 1,000 years, something on the other side answered back. The command center remained silent for several long seconds. Nobody moved, nobody spoke. The message was still glowing on thousands of screens. Why did you come? The words were simple, but they carried a strange feeling. There was no anger, no fear, no threat. It sounded like a question from someone who had been waiting for a very long time. Across the fleet, officers looked at each other nervously. Scientists checked their equipment again and again. Some hoped the message was a computer error. Others knew it was real. The signal had come directly from behind the door. From the thing that was somehow still alive after 1,000 years. Council leader Vurek finally broke the silence. Can we send a reply? He asked. The communication experts exchanged uncertain looks. No one knows if that is safe, one scientist said. What if answering activates something? Another warned. But curiosity was winning again, just as it always did. After several hours of debate, the council made a decision. They would respond. A simple message was prepared. We found this structure. We want answers. The transmission was sent. Then everyone waited. Minutes passed. Nothing happened. 1 hour passed. Still nothing. Some people began to think the conversation was over. Then every screen suddenly flashed again. A new message appeared. Answers have a price. Fear spread through the command center. What does that mean? Someone whispered. Nobody knew. Before anyone could reply, another message appeared. Leave now. The room became even quieter. The warning was clear. Whoever was behind the door wanted them gone. Several council members immediately supported retreating. We should listen. The humans left warnings for a reason. This entire place feels wrong. Others disagreed. We came this far. We cannot leave without understanding what this is. The galaxy deserves answers. The argument continued for hours. Meanwhile, the scientists kept studying the structure. That was when they found something strange. A hidden energy source deep inside the wall. It was unlike any reactor ever discovered. The energy output was enormous, far beyond what should have been possible. Even stranger, the energy level was changing. Slowly, steadily, as if the system was counting towards something. The researchers focused all available resources on the readings. After an entire day of work, they finally understood what they were seeing. The energy source was linked to a timer, a countdown. When the discovery reached the council, panic immediately followed. A countdown meant an event. Something was waiting to happen. The question was simple: what? Scientists worked around the clock. The numbers were difficult to understand because they used ancient human code. Many believed the code had been intentionally hidden, as if humanity never wanted anyone to find it. Finally, the translation was completed. The command center gathered to hear the results. The lead scientist looked pale. His hands were shaking. How much time remains? Varek asked. The scientist swallowed hard, then answered, 5 days. The room exploded with noise. Council members shouted over each other. Military commanders demanded explanations. Scientists rushed to verify the data. But the answer remained unchanged. 5 days after 1,000 years. Only 5 days remained on the countdown. Nobody knew what would happen when it reached 0. That uncertainty frightened everyone. Additional scans were ordered immediately. The fleet searched every part of the structure. Hidden chambers, power systems, communication networks, everything. During one scan, researchers discovered another strange detail. The countdown was not connected to the door. It was connected to whatever was behind it. That made the situation even worse. If the life form died, would the countdown stop? If it escaped, would the countdown end? No one could tell. As fear spread across the fleet, rumors spread even faster. Some believed an ancient human weapon was hidden inside. Others thought a powerful artificial intelligence was trapped there. A few even believed the life form was one of the last surviving humans. No theory could be proven. Then something unexpected happened. The signal returned without warning. Every screen lit up again. This time the message was longer. You do not understand what this place is. A second line appeared. The door is not a prison. Shock spread through the command center. If it was not a prison, then what was it? Another line appeared. The door is a lock. Several scientists stared at the screen. A lock? What exactly was being locked? The answer came seconds later. A final sentence appeared. Humanity locked it for your protection. Before anyone could react, the transmission ended. The room fell silent once more. The words echoed through everyone's mind. Not a prison, a lock for your protection. For the first time since arriving, many people wanted to leave, not tomorrow, not later, immediately. But before the council could vote, alarms suddenly exploded across the fleet. Red warning lights filled every command deck. Officers jumped from their seats. What happened? Varek shouted. A terrified technician looked up from his console. His face had turned completely pale. The countdown, he said. The countdown just changed. The room froze. What do you mean changed? Varek asked. The technician pointed at the screen. Everyone looked. Moments earlier, 5 days had remained. Now the timer was moving faster, much faster. Seconds were disappearing before their eyes. Hours vanished in minutes. The ancient system had suddenly accelerated. Whatever was coming. Whatever humanity had feared enough to lock away for 1,000 years. It was no longer 5 days away. And somewhere behind the door, the unseen voice sent one final message. You have made it aware of you. The moment the message appeared, fear spread through every ship around the ancient structure. You have made it aware of you. No one knew what it was, but everyone understood one thing. Something had changed. The countdown was accelerating faster every minute. What had once shown 5 days now showed less than 18 hours. Panic swept through the fleet. Military commanders demanded immediate evacuation. Scientists begged for more time to study the door. Council members argued endlessly. The fleet had become divided. One group wanted to leave, the other wanted answers. Council leader Varek stood before the emergency assembly and listened to both sides. If humanity built this place, then they locked it for a reason, one representative said. And if we leave now, we may never learn the truth, another replied. The debate continued until a new alarm interrupted everyone. This time the warning came from the scanning stations. The life sign behind the door had changed for the first time since its discovery. It was moving. The command center fell silent. Scientists rushed toward their screens. The readings were clear. The unknown life form was walking, slowly, patiently, toward the door. A cold feeling spread through the room. For 1,000 years it had remained still. Now it was moving, as if it knew the galaxy was watching, as if it knew the countdown was nearing its end. Varek made his decision. We open the door, he said. The room erupted. Some shouted in support. Others called the decision madness. But Varek remained firm. If the countdown reaches 0 and we still know nothing, the entire galaxy may pay the price, he said. We need answers now, within hours. The largest operation in modern history began. Thousands of ships surrounded the structure. Weapons were powered, shields were raised, emergency fleets arrived from nearby systems. Even those who opposed opening the door stayed. Nobody wanted to leave before learning the truth. Massive engineering vessels moved into position. Human technology was ancient, but not indestructible. After careful analysis, scientists identified a possible way to unlock the mechanism. The process would take several hours. During that time, the countdown continued to race forward. 16 hours, 15, 14. Every passing moment increased the tension. Then something strange happened. The voice returned. Every screen lit up at once. "Do not do this." The message was short, direct, urgent, for the first time. Emotion seemed visible in the words. Fear. The being behind the door sounded afraid. One scientist stared at the screen. "If it wants us to stop, maybe we should listen," she whispered. Nobody answered. Because deep down, everyone knew it was already too late. The unlocking process had begun. Hours later, the final seal weakened. Warning lights flashed across the ancient structure. Systems that had slept for 1,000 years slowly awakened. The giant door vibrated. A deep sound rolled through space, like a giant machine taking its first breath. Every fleet moved into battle formation. Weapons targeted the opening. Thousands of soldiers waited for orders. The countdown showed less than 8 hours remaining. Then it happened. The first lock disengaged. A thunder-like vibration shook the entire structure. Then a second lock, then a third, one by one. The ancient mechanisms released. Nobody spoke, nobody moved, everyone watched. Finally, after 1,000 years, the door began to open. Slowly, painfully slowly, a dark gap appeared between the massive metal walls. Sensors immediately scanned the interior. The results confused everyone. No weapons, no armies, no energy surge, nothing. As the opening widened, lights from the fleet entered the chamber beyond. The first images arrived. The room was empty, completely empty. The command center erupted in confusion. What is this? Where is the life form? Where is the threat? The chamber stretched hundreds of meters in every direction. Yet there was almost nothing inside. Just smooth walls and a single object standing at the center. A black cube. It was no larger than a chair. Perfectly still, perfectly ordinary. For a moment, nobody understood. This tiny object had been hidden behind the most heavily protected door in known history. Several commanders laughed nervously. Some believed it had all been a mistake. Others suspected a trap. A research team was immediately sent inside. The small shuttle entered the chamber while millions watched through live broadcasts. The team approached the cube carefully. No movement, no reaction, no energy spikes. It simply sat there, silent, waiting. The lead researcher finally stood before it. "This is what humanity protected," he asked. At that exact moment, the cube activated. Its surface suddenly glowed with white symbols. The researchers froze. Across the galaxy, millions watched in silence. Then the cube spoke. Not through speakers, not through radio signals. Its voice appeared directly inside every connected system. Every ship, every station, every screen. The same message echoed everywhere. Identity confirmed. The room became silent. Then a second message appeared. "Welcome back, Director Solon." Confusion spread instantly. The researcher standing before the cube looked shocked. His name was not Solon. Nobody there was named Solon. Then the cube revealed a holographic image, an image of a human who had been dead for nearly 1,000 years. And standing beside that human was someone the entire galaxy recognized immediately. Council Leader Varric, or rather, a human man who looked exactly like him. The cube displayed one final line. Genetic match, 99.98%. Varric stared at the screen. His blood turned cold. Because according to every official record, his species had never met humanity. Yet somehow, the ancient human machine believed he was one of them. And then the countdown suddenly dropped from hours to minutes. The countdown dropped so fast that many people thought the system was broken. One moment, several hours remained. The next, only 23 minutes were left. Panic exploded across the fleet. Officers shouted orders. Scientists rushed between stations. Military commanders prepared evacuation plans. But nobody could take their eyes off the black cube, especially Council Leader Varric. The hologram of the ancient human still floated above it. Beside the human was the image of a man who looked almost identical to Varric. The resemblance was impossible to ignore. The same face, the same eyes, even the same small scar above the left eyebrow. Varric felt a chill run through his body. His species came from a world thousands of light years away from Earth. According to history, they had never met humanity, so how could a human machine mistake him for one of its own? The cube answered before anyone could ask. Its white symbols shifted across the surface. Then a new message appeared. Director Solon authorization detected. The command center fell silent. One scientist carefully stepped forward. "There must be an error," she said. The cube responded instantly. "No error detected." Another line appeared. "Access level. Founder." The room became even quieter. "Founder? What founder?" Nobody understood. The countdown continued. 21 minutes, 20 minutes, 19. Every second increased the pressure. Varrock swallowed nervously. "What is this place?" he finally asked. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then the hologram changed. The image of the human became clearer. He appeared older now. His face carried exhaustion, as if he had spent years fighting a war. When he spoke, his voice sounded calm. "My name is Director Solon," the recording said. "If you are seeing this, the door has been opened." Across the fleet, millions watched. The human continued. "First, understand one thing. The door was never a prison." Many people exchanged nervous looks. They had heard those words before, but now they were hearing them directly from a human. "The door is a lock," Solon said. "It exists to protect the galaxy." The room remained silent. Everyone waited for the explanation. Instead, the human surprised them. "Humanity made a mistake," he said. "A terrible mistake." The hologram shifted again. New images appeared. Ancient human ships, huge fleets, gigantic battles, entire star systems burning. The scenes shocked everyone. No historical records mentioned the war on this scale. Then another image appeared. Something dark, something enormous, a shadow moving between stars. Nobody could clearly see its shape. Every recording became distorted whenever it appeared. The human's voice grew serious. 1,000 years ago, humanity discovered something beyond the edge of the galaxy. At first we thought it was intelligence. We were wrong. The shadow moved across the hologram. Stars vanished wherever it passed. Entire fleets disappeared. The room became silent. "What is it?" Varrock asked quietly. The recording ignored the question. Instead, Solon continued his story. "The conflict lasted 93 years. We won battles. We lost worlds. We lost billions." The images became darker. Destroyed planets floated through space. Broken fleets drifted among the stars. Even the most experienced military officers looked disturbed. Then Solon revealed the most shocking part. "We never found a way to destroy it." The room froze. Humanity was legendary. Even after their disappearance, stories of their technology still survived. If humanity could not destroy this enemy, who could? The recording continued. "So we built the lock." The black cube flashed brightly. The ancient door appeared in the hologram. Thousands of human ships surrounded it. "We could not kill it," Solon said. "So we trapped it." Gasps spread through the command center. Many scientists suddenly realized what they were hearing. The thing behind the door, the thing connected to the countdown, was not the prisoner. The prisoner had never been inside. The lock itself was the prison, and the black cube was the key. Fear spread instantly. One researcher looked at the timer. Only 15 minutes remained. "What happens when the countdown reaches 0?" she asked. For the first time, the recording hesitated. Then Solon answered, "The lock begins to fail." The room erupted with panic. Military officers started shouting. Scientists demanded immediate evacuation. Several council members ordered fleets to retreat, but the recording was not finished. "The failure was expected," Solon said. "We planned for it." The room quieted again. Planned? What did that mean? A new image appeared. Human fleets traveling beyond the edge of the galaxy. Millions of ships moving into darkness. The sight was unbelievable. Humanity had not vanished. They had left voluntarily. The recording continued. "When the lock weakens, humanity will return." Shock swept across the fleet. Humanity was alive after 1,000 years. Humanity still existed, and they were coming back. Then suddenly the entire structure shook violently. Warning alarms exploded across every ship. The countdown dropped again. 15 minutes became 5. 5 became 4, then 3. Scientists stared at their screens in horror. Something new had appeared inside the chamber. A hidden section of the wall was moving. Ancient mechanisms awakened behind the black cube. Massive pieces of metal slid apart. Dust from 1,000 years drifted through the air. Slowly, a second door emerged from the darkness, much larger than the first one, and unlike the outer door. This one was opening by itself. The cube displayed a final warning: containment breach beginning. Then the hologram vanished, and from the darkness beyond the second door, something moved. The second door continued to open. No one in the chamber moved, no one even breathed. Every eye remained fixed on the growing darkness beyond the ancient barrier. The warning from the cube still flashed across countless screens. Containment breach beginning. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then a cold wave spread through the room. It was not wind. It was not energy. It was something stranger. Every person inside the chamber felt it. A deep feeling that something was watching them. Something ancient, something patient. The research team immediately retreated toward their shuttle. Military fleets outside powered every weapon they had. Thousands of targeting systems locked onto the chamber, but many commanders already knew the truth. If humanity could not destroy the thing 1,000 years ago, their weapons would probably do nothing. Council leader Varek stood frozen before the cube. His mind raced with questions. Humanity was alive, the lock was failing, and something was trying to escape. Then the cube activated once more. Its symbols flashed rapidly. A new message appeared. Emergency protocol initiated. Suddenly, the walls of the chamber lit up. Ancient projectors hidden inside the structure came alive. Across every surface, holographic images appeared. Entire histories that had been hidden for 1,000 years. Millions of files began transmitting across the galaxy. Every archive, every scientific network, every government database received the same information. Humanity's final records. The truth humanity had hidden for centuries was no longer secret. Scientists rushed to study the files. The discoveries were shocking. Humanity had not vanished because of war. They had not gone extinct. They had not abandoned the galaxy. Instead, they had left to guard something. The records revealed an enemy older than most stars. A civilization unlike any known species. It did not build cities. It did not create governments. It did not negotiate. It consumed, system after system, galaxy after galaxy. Human records called it only one name: the hunger. Nobody knew its real identity. Human scientists had never fully understood it. But they knew one thing: if it entered the galaxy again, billions would die. That was why humanity created the lock. That was why they left. They became guardians beyond known space, watching the prison, waiting for the day it weakened, waiting for the day they might need to return. The entire galaxy watched the records in stunned silence. Everything they believed about humanity had been wrong. Humans were not cowards who disappeared. They were soldiers who never came home. Then another alarm sounded. This one was far worse. A military officer suddenly shouted, "Unknown contacts detected." The command center turned toward the main display. At first, the screen appeared empty. Then hundreds of signals appeared. Thousands, millions. Entire sections of space lit up with incoming ships. The room fell silent. No known civilization possessed fleets that large. For a moment, many feared the hunger had arrived. Then the identification systems completed their analysis. The results shocked everyone. The ships were human. The oldest records in the galaxy matched the designs perfectly. But these vessels were far larger than anything humanity once possessed. Some were the size of moons, others dwarfed entire cities. They emerged from deep space like an endless ocean of metal and light. Humanity had returned. Across countless worlds, people watched the arrival live. Many expected celebration. Instead, fear spread. The human fleet was not acting like a victorious civilization. They were acting like soldiers responding to an emergency. Their formations were precise. Their weapons were active. Their shields already raised. Then a transmission arrived. Every screen across the galaxy displayed the same image. A human woman wearing a dark military uniform. Her hair was silver. Her eyes were calm, but her expression carried visible concern. She looked directly into the camera, then spoke. "Who opened the lock?" She asked. The question echoed across the galaxy. No greeting, no introduction, no celebration, only that question. The command center remained silent. Nobody wanted to answer. Because suddenly everyone realized the same thing. Humanity was not returning because the prison had failed. Humanity was returning because someone had opened it. And that someone was them, the woman continued. We left clear instructions. We left warnings in every known language. We left records explaining the danger. Her expression hardened. Why did you ignore them? Nobody had an answer. Curiosity, pride, arrogance, none of those sounded acceptable now. Then the human officer received new information. Her eyes moved toward another screen. For the first time, fear appeared on her face. A feeling that shocked everyone watching. If humanity feared something, it must be truly terrible. The woman looked back at the camera, then delivered a message that froze the galaxy. You are too late. Silence filled the command center. Varrock stepped forward. What do you mean? He asked. The human officer did not answer immediately. Instead, she activated a live sensor feed. A distant section of space appeared on every screen. At first, nothing was visible. Then people noticed it. The stars were disappearing. One by one, entire regions of space were turning black. Not because something blocked the light. Because the light itself was vanishing. The darkness was moving, and it was moving toward the galaxy. The officer finally spoke. The hunger is awake. Then the feed suddenly cut out. At the exact same moment, something enormous emerged from the darkness beyond the second door. Something far larger than anyone had imagined. And every sensor in the galaxy instantly failed. Every sensor across the galaxy went dead at the same moment. It was not a failure. It was not interference. It was complete silence from every monitoring system near the ancient structure. Ships lost visual contact. Long-range scans returned nothing but static. Even quantum communication lines became unstable. For the first time in recorded history, the galaxy became blind. Inside the chamber, panic spread instantly. Military officers shouted for emergency evacuation. Scientists tried to restore sensor data. Council leader Varrock stood frozen. His eyes were still locked on the second door. From inside it, something had emerged. But no one could see it clearly anymore. Only a feeling remained, a pressure in space, like reality itself was bending. Then the human fleet arrived fully. Hundreds of massive ships entered the system. Their arrival was silent but overwhelming. No celebration signals, no diplomatic greetings. Only formation changes and weapon locks. They were preparing for war. The human fleet spread across the system like a shield. At the center of it all was the flagship, much larger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Its surface carried no visible weapons, but every instinct told observers otherwise. This ship alone could probably destroy entire star systems. A new transmission arrived. It came from the same human officer as before. Her face appeared on every screen again. But now her expression had changed. The calm was gone, replaced by sharp focus and urgency. Evacuate the outer systems immediately, she ordered. No introduction, no discussion, just a command. Varrock stepped forward. We cannot evacuate everything in time, he replied. The human officer's eyes narrowed. Then she said something that silenced the entire command center. Then accept what you can lose. Before anyone could respond, the human fleet began moving. Massive ships shifted into defensive formation around the structure. Energy fields activated across space. The light from nearby stars flickered as enormous power systems came online. Then the second door fully opened. And for the first time, something stepped through. It was not a creature in the normal sense. At least not one that followed any known biological form. Its shape was unstable, sometimes humanoid, sometimes shifting into something far larger. Like a shadow made of broken space, it did not walk. It expanded into reality itself. Everywhere it touched, stars in the distance dimmed slightly. The effect was subtle at first, but terrifying in implication. The hunger was not just a being, it was a condition of space, a corruption of existence. And it was now free. Human fleets immediately opened fire. Energy beams stronger than supernovas struck the entity. Entire weapon arrays fired continuously. Space lit up like a dying star for a moment. It looked like they were succeeding. The entity paused. Its expansion slowed. Hope flickered across allied fleets. Then the darkness adapted. The energy weapons simply vanished into it. Not absorbed, not reflected, erased, like they had never existed. The human officer's voice came again, this time quieter. "We are already losing containment," she said. Varek looked at her. "Then why are you here?" He asked. Her answer was immediate. "Because you opened it." The entity continued expanding, now moving beyond the chamber, spreading into the surrounding space. Ships near the structure began to flicker out of existence, not exploding, not breaking apart. Just disappearing, one by one. Panic spread across all fleets. The human ships moved faster. They formed containment barriers. Massive energy grids formed in space, lines of light connecting hundreds of ships. But even these were failing. The hunger was adapting too quickly. Then something unexpected happened. The black cube inside the chamber activated again, despite everything collapsing around it. Despite the second door being open, despite the enemy being free, the cube still functioned. It displayed one final command sequence. The human officer saw it and immediately reacted. "Stand by," she shouted. "Do not fire." The human fleet froze. The cube projected a massive hologram into space, not just inside the chamber, but across the entire system. Every ship saw it. Every station received it. The image showed humanity, not modern humanity, but ancient human fleets, the ones from 1,000 years ago, battling the hunger for the first time. Then a second image appeared, the lock being built, but this time, something new was revealed. The lock was not just a prison, it was a trigger system, a last resort weapon. The cube's message appeared again. Final protocol available. The human officer's eyes widened. "That was never supposed to activate," she whispered. Varek turned toward her. "What does it mean?" He asked. She hesitated, then answered. "It means humanity left behind a way to end this," she said. "But it requires total activation of the lock system, before anyone could respond." The cube began counting down again, but this time it was not seconds, it was coordinates. Across space, across time, across multiple hidden human systems, the final protocol had started, and somewhere deep in the darkness, the hunger changed direction. It was no longer just escaping. It was now moving toward the source of the signal, toward humanity itself. The galaxy had never seen silence like this. Not the silence of empty space, but the silence of systems shutting down one by one. Whole regions of the network went dark as the final protocol activated. The cube inside the chamber continued its countdown. But now it was not counting time, it was counting locations. Hidden human coordinates scattered across deep space were lighting up in sequence. One by one, like stars waking from a long sleep, Council Leader Varek watched in disbelief. On every screen, the galaxy map was changing. Points far beyond known space were activating ancient human beacons, each one sending a pulse toward the same destination. The human officer appeared again on the main channel. Her face was pale now, not from fear of the enemy, but from what humanity had just triggered. "The final protocol is active," she said, "and there is no stopping it now." Varek stepped closer to the screen. "What exactly did humanity leave behind?" he asked. The officer hesitated, then answered, "Not a weapon, not a shield, a response." Before anyone could ask more, space itself began to change. The hunger, still spreading through the outer system, suddenly stopped expanding. For the first time it reacted, not like an unstoppable force, but like something sensing danger for the first time in 1,000 years. Then every human ship powered down their weapons at once. Confusion spread through allied fleets. "Why are they standing down?" someone shouted, but the answer came seconds later. The human officer spoke again. "Because it has already begun." Suddenly, the darkness beyond the second door split open. Not destroyed, not broken, but forced apart by something far larger than itself. Space folded like fabric, and from it, they arrived not a single fleet, not even a nation, but humanity in full return, the true humanity, beyond the borders of known space, beyond the limits of the galaxy. Thousands upon thousands of colossal structures emerged. World-sized ships, armadas that moved like continents through space, entire star systems worth of technology, and at their center was something impossible, a sphere of pure structured light. It did not move like a ship. It behaved like a controlled reality field. The human officer finally spoke softly. "This is what we became." Varrock stared at the sight. "You were never gone," he whispered. "No," she replied. "We were waiting." The hunger reacted violently. It surged forward, expanding faster than before, consuming everything in its path. But now something was different. The human fleets did not fire. They opened pathways instead. Channels of space were carved open in front of the entity, guiding it, directing it. The cube inside the chamber flashed one final time. Containment route confirmed. Then everything aligned. The final protocol was not an attack, it was a migration system. The hunger was not meant to be destroyed, it was meant to be relocated, dragged through controlled space corridors back to its original void beyond the galaxy. Humanity had not built a prison. They had built a highway to exile it forever, but something had gone wrong. Because someone opened the lock too early, the human officer turned toward Varrock. Her voice was quieter now. "You were not supposed to open it," she said. "Not because it was dangerous, but because it was scheduled." Varrock froze. "Scheduled?" He repeated. She nodded. Humanity was going to return in exactly sync with the final protocol cycle. Your activation disrupted the timing. Suddenly, realization hit the entire command center. The lock was not failing, it was still working. But now it was unstable, because it had been triggered out of sequence. And the hunger was learning faster than expected. The entity shifted again, its form now less chaotic, more focused, more aware. It was adapting to the human containment route, trying to escape the guided corridor system. The human armadas moved instantly, entire star systems aligned like gears in a machine. Massive gravitational anchors activated across space. The galaxy itself was being reshaped into a trap network. But the hunger resisted, and for the first time it spoke, not in words, but in thought. Every mind in the system felt it. A single idea. "You cannot hold me again." The human officer closed her eyes briefly, then opened them with resolve. "Then we end this now," she said. She gave the final command, and humanity did something no one expected. They opened the core of their own return fleet, revealing something buried inside their largest sphere of light. A sealed fragment of something older than both humanity and the hunger. A piece of pre-galactic structure. And the cube in the chamber responded instantly. "Origin key recognized," Varrock whispered. "What is that?" The human officer looked at the spreading darkness and answered. "The thing that created the lock in the first place." At that exact moment, the hunger stopped completely. For the first time it hesitated. And in that hesitation, humanity finally closed the trap, not on the galaxy, not on itself, but on the thing that had waited since before stars learned to shine. And as the light consumed the darkness, the last message from the cube appeared across all systems. Containment restored. Then another line followed. Humanity remains in custody of the galaxy. And finally, do not open sealed systems without authorization again. Silence returned, but this time it was different. Because everyone now understood the truth. The door was never a mystery. It was a warning system for civilizations too curious to survive their own curiosity. And humanity had not been hiding from the galaxy. They had been protecting it from itself.